Why did it blink?
I don't know.
Is it on yet? Oh. Is it even running?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am injecting myself in my PICC line. If anybody knows, I didn't broadcast on my Facebook page that I have an infection in my spine.
Keep going while you're talking.
Called osteomyelitis. I know what it's called, dear. And it's very deadly, very rare infection in my spine. Now, people can get the infection in their bone anywhere. Diabetics are especially prone to getting it. But in my case, where it's in the spine, that can kill me, and it can spread very quickly, and it can go to my brain. So it's a very scary thing. So I have to have this for 6 weeks, in addition to the week I had it in the hospital. Here, can you undo this?
Fold it down.
Yes, untwist it. You're tightening it. Ouch.
Sorry. New to this.
New to tightening things
No, new to this.
and loosening things. Okay, grab me the antibiotic.
This.
So I'm on one of the heftiest antibiotics that are available out there. It is called ceftriaxone or something like that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, of course. So anyway, I pull back on the syringe and then make sure the medicine goes to the very tippy top so that it doesn't leave any air bubbles. This one usually doesn't have any air left over in it, so I didn't have to do it for this one, but all the others I do. So I need you to tighten this in again. So this PICC line, there's like this little, hold on, there's this little white thing in there that you have to push in.
It's like a little water bottle or something.
You push that thing in and it pushes the syringe tip into it, and then you screw it on tight and it tightens. Like so. And then this takes 3 to 5 minutes. What's funny is that nurses will come to my house and they've all told me that this is like the fastest one that they have ever done, but for me, 3 to 5 minutes long is long.
Mm-hmm.
Some are going 3 to 5 minutes, but they're just like, it's so fast because some people will have them in for hours, if not around the clock.
Ugh.
And one reason why they said that's the case is because they have to have a specific type of antibiotic that's not as strong, that runs around the clock, because they're diabetics. It's usually diabetics have to have it done that way. So I have to watch the clock and make sure I'm not rushing it.
Yeah, so while we wait, anybody have any questions?
Sorry. She's eating a granola bar.
Mm-hmm.
So I can explain what happened. I had really severe back pain. I injured my back last September 2019, and within days the pain was so severe I could hardly even walk. I would get, when I first start walking, it was painful, but the pain would just build and build and build, and it would get so bad. And at night I couldn't sleep. I would be in so much pain, sometimes I'd just cry. And I tried telling my doctors, hey man, this hurts really bad. I'm not lying to you. I know what really severe pain feels like. I've had some of the most painful things happen that you can imagine, kind of a thing. The saline will be next. Yeah. And so they didn't take me seriously, which was extremely frustrating. So they refused to give me medication for it. So I just suffered and suffered and suffered. And what the infectious disease doctor and my surgeon suspect is that the infection in my spine settled into the disc that was literally completely crushed, and not completely, but I mean crushed. It cracked up, and what's the word? When you have a disc that protrudes out.
Margie.
A disc bulge.
Margie asked, so do the nurses move the PICC line?
No, the reason why they make it a PICC line is so they don't have to move it. Otherwise, it would be a regular IV. Regular IVs go bad
So you'll have to like move them
within a few days to a week, and that's why a PICC line is different, because it is a wider tube. You can see how big the tube is. It's a lot thicker than just a regular IV. And it literally goes through the main artery in my arm and into the main heart valve or whatever artery right above. It goes basically right into my heart. The tube doesn't go in my heart, but it opens up right before it goes into my heart.
Yes, the medicine.
And so the medicine goes directly straight to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
That way it pumps and gets through the bloodstream faster, and then the line doesn't go bad as fast. It's also, they have to numb the area and stick it in. Trust they have to cut it open and then stick it in.
I was reading a book.
Just go like this, like the whole time?
Well, kind
yes, they have to feed the tube in, and they literally have to measure from sternum to here to know how long the tube has to be.
I was reading a book called Complications. I can't remember who it's by, but it's a nonfiction book. It's about the medical field, and it tells like stories and stuff like that. And it talked about PICC lines, and it was very interesting because that's how I knew what a PICC line is and how I know how they put it in. And either they put it in directly through your chest, or what my mom did, I guess their arms, and they'd feed it through. And once they get like this needle thing in, they stick the tube in to put the medicine through. So it's like very interesting to read about.
Yeah, so they use a pretty wide needle. They usually have to cut it open to the artery where the needle goes in, and then the big needle inserts, and then they push the tube through that.
Yeah, they do a little incision.
So it bled pretty good for the first few days. So it filled this thing up with blood, and they had to change this a couple of times.
If I check messages on Messenger, will it stop the live?
It might, I don't know. Okay, will you untwist that? So anyway, the reason why my back was hurting so bad is because I literally had a bone-eating bacteria. And so it was
didn't know that.
Much more severe than regular back pain.
When we went into the doctors, they said if
and
she hadn't...
thinking, oh, it's back pain. It's bad back pain. Everyone has bad back pain.
Because if we hadn't gone to the doctors, they said she would have died.
See, what got me into the ER was that the pain was getting a lot more severe. And then one night, Sadie, she jumped onto my side, and I literally felt something in my back crush. Like it felt like a crush and a crunch, and the pain was so severe I screamed, and I could hardly breathe after that. And
get the air bubbles
to
out?
get the air bubble out. Here we untwist it. And I couldn't move. I could hardly breathe. I couldn't talk, and it was so horrible. And basically, at that moment, what had happened was that she had finished crushing the disc, and the infection spread from the disc immediately into the surrounding vertebrae, and it just started to spread. And they said it's within a week it literally spread from the one disc into the complete 2 surrounding vertebrae. And anyway, so sorry, we've got a couple onlooker people that worked at Michael's here. So anyway, the pain was so severe. So I went into the ER after a few days because it was so bad. And the doctor gave me a couple of shots in the butt, or the hip, or whatever you want to call it, the butt hip, the hip butt, of an anti-inflammatory and like some kind of pain thing, medicine of some kind. And it gave me a lot of relief, but I mean, not complete, of course, at all. But it gave me enough to get me through for a few hours. They said this should help for a couple of days. A few hours, maybe a couple hours. That's all it did. And anyway, so the pain was getting so bad where pretty much every night I was crying because I was in so much pain. And I don't cry. It takes a lot for me to cry, especially from pain. Can you hold it? She's got to untwist it. So then my daughter and I were out one evening, and I couldn't stand it anymore. The pain. We pulled up in the driveway, and I was like, we have one more. This is the heparin. This is what basically stays in the tube, and it prevents blood from leaking out. It's like a
did they
blood
this,
coagulant, so it keeps it from coming out.
Did they add this, or did you have to take it like the whole time?
This
Air
antibiotic?
bubble.
Huh?
Did you like have to take that after the saline the whole time, or did they just add it?
What do you mean take it the whole time?
Did they add it so you wouldn't bleed out?
Yeah, this is new for the PICC line.
Okay,
These
that's
go
what I
in
was
PICC
asking.
lines.
This one's
They use it in case of someone's having severe bleeding, like you've been in like a severe accident or their artery has been
Also, I call
severed or whatever.
doing whatever Michael wants to do when he needs something.
Huh?
No, I do.
I call it.
That's not fair, because
Yes,
you don't know
I
what it
want
is yet.
some money for phone. I bet he wants us to come clean, and I want to do it. He said
Okay.
he'll hire me.
Okay, why are we talking about that right now?
Sorry.
So anyway,
I said-
so
Can't say that yet. It's not fair.
so anyway, can we talk about it later?
Yeah.
So, I go in finally, and when I tell the ER doctor about my pain, where it's at, he got concerned, and he's like, okay, we need to order a CAT scan. You know, they don't order that kind of stuff in the ER anymore unless it's like a real emergency, like life-threatening emergency. So I'm going, okay, maybe he thinks there's a broken bone, because that's what I thought was wrong. You have to take off the little
I know, I'm
tab.
showing them. This is the cap. Whoa.
Yep, so spongy thing with antibiotics and alcohol on the
Your
tip.
fingers are dirty from
Paint.
So he orders a CAT scan. The radiologist took one look at that and said, I'm really concerned, order an MRI with contrast. And so the doctor came, the doctor was waiting for me. I used the bathroom, came out. The doctor was literally waiting for me to come out of the bathroom. He was so anxious to tell me about what the radiologist said. And he's really concerned about it. Doesn't look good. It looks like you have an infection, possibly cancer. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? So he's like, we're gonna have to admit you, which I was also like, what? And do a blood culture. And I'm just thinking, oh, just a regular IV. No, he had to have a nurse on either side of me, if anyone's had blood cultures done before. One on either side of me and take blood at the same time. They filled like these little glass tubes that are about this tall, like bottles, like little mini bottles with a long little glass neck.
That's what happened to me before.
Like 3 on either side at the same time full of blood.
I've had to do that before.
What for what?
I don't remember. I think you were in the bathroom and Dad was in the thing with me, and I was sitting on the table, and they had to take a ton of blood. It was like a big tray of vials, and they had to
that
take
wasn't a
so
blood
much.
culture. That was
Well,
just from an IV from one blood
I
thing.
know,
yeah.
but it was a lot.
A lot of people do that. That was just when you got your nail.
It was
I think,
so scary though.
yeah, that's different than this. That's regular IVs. You'll
like-
get plenty of that in your life, especially when you have to have
Screaming
babies.
and crying as they came in.
So anyway, I had the blood infection. Not blood infection. We were finding out what was going on. So they had all that. And he's like, 24 hours to get the results. Yeah, 24 hours for the most basic results. He did not tell me that the cultures would take 48 to 72 hours to come back. So come to find out, my white blood cell count was high and my inflammatory markers were sky high. And I was septic, and I didn't even know. I had no clue I was septic. I think a lot of people when they're septic don't know when they are. Because it affects you, cognitively. And so I don't want to hold that. I'm falling asleep. I'm holding it at a funny angle. So they put me on 2 of the strongest antibiotics that you can have, the number 1 strongest, and then the second strongest, or whatever it is, which is what I'm on now. Because they weren't sure what was going on. They knew it was some kind of infection in my bone. They didn't know what caused it. They didn't know where it came from, because it's so rare. And it usually only happens to people who get bed sores that aren't being taken care of, that get infected. It's so rare to get it, especially to get it in the spine. It's like the most rare form you can possibly get.
And that's what the Pearson family gets. They get the rare things.
My family's known to getting a lot of the rare, crazy things.
And the broken injuries.
Where's my Vaseline? Did you take it? Borrow it? Oh, here it is. So anyway, my purse is like a deep black hole, and things get lost in it all the time. Like car keys. So anyway, I didn't realize how sick I was because the doctor wasn't giving me a lot of information. and they weren't telling me a lot of details. They were so vague, and I think it's because they didn't want me freaking out. I wouldn't have been freaking out. I like knowing as much as possible. Give me as much information as you can. Don't sit and tell me like vague. I don't like vagueness. That's what makes me nervous, is when you're being vague, because then my imagination kind of carries off. Of course, my brain wasn't completely functioning, so I wasn't imagining anything. I wasn't thinking. I just wish that he had told me, where's that stupid car? You can turn it off. Did you kick it, Lacey?
Yeah.
Ugh. Hate those noises. Stupid children toys. So anyway, they that find it and turn it off. It's going to do that until you turn it off. It literally won't stop until you turn it off. So anyway, so I was in there for a week on these hefty antibiotics, not even being able to walk, having to use a walker, and that helped move all the pain. It took them days to figure out the pain medication that I had to be on. Luckily, the head doctor, over all the doctors, was like, why aren't you guys giving her this pain medication? Like, you don't understand the kind of pain these people are in that have bone infections, especially when it's in the spine. We're talking like severe pain. I mean, I was at a 10, and that's really saying something if you know me, and if you've known some of the stuff that I've been through. And so, I mean, I don't like pain medication. I hate how it makes me feel. I hate it. But when you're in that much pain, I mean, that when they did a lumbar puncture, but it wasn't a regular one where they just get the spinal fluid. They wanted to get a bone biopsy, and that was one of the most painful procedures I've been through, that they didn't bother putting me to sleep for, which I wish they had. I really wish they had. Because they literally stuck a gigantic needle down all the way into my spine, and they had to like avoid the spinal cord, so they had to go kind of an angle and then insert into that needle a contraption thing that had a hook, and the hook had to go around to reach the bone they needed to graft or to get or whatever. I don't know, I'm not using the right word, to cut out for the biopsy and all that. So they cut that out, sucked it up into the tube, and then it was painful. And when they did it, I literally like screamed out on the table. Like, they had another IV in me, because I had like 3 IVs at once, and they gave me some kind of like something to try to help soothe my nerves, kind of thing, and were giving me some pain doses through the IV. They did nothing. Like, as soon as he did that and was getting the stuff out of my spine and everything, nothing worked for the pain after that, because I can handle big needles going in me. I've done it better, been there, done that, whatever. But God, that was awful. And I was at a 10 in pain for hours, and just laying there, I couldn't move. I was like, I couldn't move at all. I couldn't even call out. I couldn't reach a nurse's button. When a nurse finally came in and checked on me, she gave me some morphine in my IV. Didn't feel it. It did nothing. It did nothing for me at all. I didn't feel it at all. It didn't help a bit. And she's like, oh wow, yeah, you are in pain. I'm like, you think? Because I was literally crying, like silently crying, because I was just in so much pain. So that's when she finally got the head doctor saying they're not treating her pain. She's in a lot of pain. And he finally came in and took care of me, and they boosted some pain medication for me, which helped me kind of function. I was able to slowly move, and then when my husband came in, I started sobbing and bawling because I was so happy to see him and relieved. And then I was finally able to have a conversation. But anyway, so that's what happened, and they had to make sure that my blood infection was cleared before they could let me leave the hospital, because they had to. I can't have an infection in my blood if I have a PICC line, because it goes straight to my heart, and the reason why is because the bacteria in the blood loves to stick to stuff. It's very sticky, and so if you've got hardware in your body of any kind, any foreign objects that's not part of your body, it sticks to it, and it infects it, and it spreads, and it moves like this fast-eating cancerous, like, it'll kill you. It would have killed me, kind of a thing. If maybe, I mean, we have pretty good medicine these days. It might not have, but they said a high chance that it could have done that. So they put one in on this side right there before they made sure my infection was cleared up, and it wasn't cleared up. So they had to hurry and take it out. I had it in for a day, and we're very lucky nothing happened to me. Getting that PICC line in was very painful. It took them forever, and it was unnerving, and I felt I was going to throw up and pass out at the same time because they were just messing it in and out and moving it all around. I was just like, stop. This one was over and done really fast, and they were awesome at it. But so finally I could finally got the green light to leave the hospital and go home after days of waiting for 2 rounds of the blood cultures of them taken from both arms at the same time.
7 days in the hospital.
Yeah, but 2 rounds of blood cultures. So that, it was like, yeah. Anyway, my brain's still fried because I still have osteomyelitis in my spine. It is not gone. It is not healed. I'm barely into starting this. I'm not even halfway through yet. So I could still use prayers because the infectious disease specialist, which is like the only one in the state of Utah, he told me that it still can spread. I am reacting very well to the antibiotics. I'm doing very, very well in that rate, but he said I'm not cleared yet. I'm basically not out of the woods, that it can still spread in my bones. It can spread in my blood. It can go up my spinal cord up into my brain. It can spread to other parts of my body, and it can eat more bone away. It can continue to eat the bone away in my spine, and it could paralyze me permanently. It could literally choke off my spinal cord or break through it completely. So it's kind of scary, but I'm in good hands. I've got good doctors that are keeping a close eye on me, and a good home health team that they check up on me pretty regularly and come over to the house and help with stuff, and send occupational therapists and physical therapists and all sorts of stuff over to help me. But meantime, I may be on antibiotics for a while after the IV treatment's done, after 6 weeks. That'll finish on December 15th. I'll get another MRI with contrast around that time to make sure the infection is going away. It could possibly be completely gone, but most likely will not be. And because sometimes these kind of infections can stay for a long time. It could take a long time to go away, and sometimes it can come back. So it could be a long road. So I'm asking for prayers that this goes away sooner than later, because the sooner it goes away, the sooner I can have back surgery and they can take out that ruined, eaten bone, and they'll have to put in hardware and fuse my back.
It'll make you shorter, right?
It depends on if they put in longer hardware or shorter hardware. I don't know. But I'm like, put in little longer rods and stuff so I can be a little taller. Because I'm just going to keep shrinking probably.
Becomes 5'3".
I'm 5'7".
I know, but...
You mean shrink to 5'3"?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd get that short.
I know, it's just...
But that would be interesting.
Speech.
But anyway, so... the sooner this is cleared up, the better for everybody. Because we have to wait till it's completely gone and 100% cleared before I can have surgery. Because it's so risky to just jump in and do surgery and stick in the hardware and stuff. So anyway, so that's the story. I'm sure I left a lot of details out. If anybody has questions, please, I'm not afraid to share. I believe it's helpful to educate people so they know what's out there. They know what they can catch or what people have or what they're going through. And I just find it interesting. I like medical stuff. It's fascinating. So anyway, so thanks for watching if you watch this, and love you guys. Thanks for your support and your prayers and everything. I really appreciate it, especially from family and good friends and from my church ward. Thank you guys. I love you all. So see you. Bye.